All right. Well, good afternoon. This is Brett again, spectating and speculating, and doing my best to keep out of the way of what ought to be going on. I'd rather let it happen. And what I want to talk about right now is the whole incredible experience I've had, mostly not enjoyable, in trying to first deactivate and later delete a Facebook account that I'd had for about, I don't know, I think maybe 2-3 years into Facebook, I finally caved and saw that it was maybe a viable way to be in touch with people that are too impatient to talk to you on the phone or too busy. And because that's just the way things have gone in my 66 years, is that, you know, I was raised by people that weren't just readers, but who enjoyed it. We're kind of voracious about it, you know. Many magazine subscriptions and, you know, grocery store encyclopedia set in the living room and, you know, boxes of National Geographic magazines in the basement on a shelf. And that's the kind of people that I was raised by and around. And I'm still a reader. But Lord knows I barely ever hold printed media that I'd have any interest in reading anymore. And, you know, over the years here up in New England, middle Massachusetts, hell, all the way back to the high school newsletter and art magazines we had back in the 70s, mid-70s. I was a writer, and I guess you could call all of that journalism, and I suppose you could call what I'm doing today journalism, and I'm just kind of like that Silver Surfer, you know, I'm just kind of riding whatever most recent tool for communication that comes along, and some of them are very brief, faddish kind of things that vanish real fast, you know, like the laser disc and and the 8-track tape for sure. And then we got, I don't know, now there seems to be a return to analog recording, as though people have they're feeling nostalgic and wanting to sound like the old days when things sounded like the stuff that the digital music revolution thought it was solving the problems of journalism. Well, anyway, so I tried to deactivate myself from Facebook and delete myself from Facebook when I don't know. So, I really hate to name names, because sometimes you name a name and it's like a fucking mental force field flies up, and some folks can't even listen to the next syllable. They're already formulating a way to enact justice on you for what you just said, even though it was an incomplete thought. And yeah, you know, so forget about names. You know, forget about names, labels, names, stuff like that. But I made a decision after many years of really having a lot of failed relationships begin and end. And I don't mean, you know, you know what I mean, professional relationships, music, art. And when I was a teacher at one point, there was even a sort of a local encouragement to use social media to connect with the parents of your students if you wish. And of course, we were forbidden to communicate with the kids we taught online. That was just a hard and fast rule, and I agree with it. But there was a period of time, and I suppose it persists, when parents use social media rather than phone calls or direct emails to express stuff, to teachers and back and forth. I remember that. That was not fun. And I would say that the first time that I very nearly left Facebook was during the time when I was still teaching at the middle school level in the aughts. And we were at the apex, like the baby boom of that kind of thing going on, with Facebook being the main conduit, And for reasons that I won't speculate about, because I'm just going to take her at her word, my wife really was beginning to have a problem with a number of the mothers of several of the kids I taught. And I was, I've been here long enough that I taught the children of kids I taught, okay? So I've taught entire generations of children, I could name a lot of families that I taught all three of the children, all three of the daughters, both of the sons, that kind of thing. And I've even worked with my ex-students and stuff as, in education. It was pretty cool, interesting. I got a deep look, teaching thousands of kids and dealing with where they came from, But my wife was beginning to have issues with, I suppose, the frequency and really lack of urgency from her perspective with which some of these women were wanting to be in communication with me. And I really couldn't argue with her because I get a lot of, I'd say that 8 out of 10 texts or emails or even Facebook comments or notifications that I ever got, 8 out of 10, there was no point in them ever having been sent. They communicated nothing. Usually they communicated, well, they didn't communicate nothing. They communicated vanity or narcissism. And I started to actually get caught up in that, Who was it? I think Kurt Vonnegut said, if somebody wants to know what a person is like, look at the 5 people they spend the most time with and kind of do an average of those 5 people and you'll get the 6th one. And, Kurt Vonnegut was the kind of author that would make you think about something for the rest of your life. And that's one lens through which I look at people and families and stuff like that. But anyways, to get back on point, I digress, I'm sorry. She one day had a completely, in hindsight, I'm saying this, I don't think I handled it very well at the time. No, I didn't handle it very well at the time. I got defensive about my right to, since there wasn't any weird shit going on, oops, I'm going to have to delete that too. And she knows this. We both know this in hindsight. There wasn't any weirdness going on, but as women do, really, if they're right-minded, they're going to guard their relationship with the person they married. And I'm glad my wife does. I don't know if I like her methods, but I'm really glad that she is capable of, she claims what is her right, and her right is the vow that I made when I married her. And I'm not going to argue with that. In fact, it's never failed us. her throwing up a fence right quick is always a good idea. And she said at that time, this is a long time ago, my God, this is like 12 years ago maybe. I want you to delete every single female friend you got on Facebook that I don't know personally. And I asked her how come. And she said, because if they want to be friends with you, they damn well better be ready to want to be friends with me too. Okay? We're like kind of a set here, you know? And so I did that. And I don't believe I even accompanied the act of doing it with any kind of explanatory post. I think I just went in there in order to avoid what could come, and just did a mass bye-bye kind of thing. And, you know, a whole lot of it was with people that, to be honest with you, I maybe had only had a back and forth with for over the course of the 9 months or less that I taught their child. And then we never had another communication after that. Like they might have at one point reached out to me via Facebook because they had a question or something, and we ended up, you know, friend request exchange kind of thing going on like that. But I went in and did in one fell swoop, and I think I knocked about maybe 125 ladies right out of the tool, as it were. And a couple of them got really pissed about it, which she found very interesting. And in hindsight, I find interesting also that some other person might bring their opinion about how a man and a woman agree to respect one another, as though their viewpoint could make that change. But anyway, so there was an early, like, okay, it's time to make a boundary happen here in this so-called networking, social networking stuff. And so then, you know, time goes by. I pass in and out of several recording groups, one of which was led by a woman. Well, at least she was the lyricist and singer in the group. And myself and a man who is very accomplished on keyboards and woodwind instruments primarily. And when I say woodwind instrument, I mean from baritone sax to harmonica, okay? And during those professional musical business, the durations of those adventures, some women ended up back in Facebook as friends, as well as I'm going to be very conservative, as well as possibly maybe 200 people who I frankly never got to know in any way, shape, or form that mattered to me very much, except that they purchased an album that I played on, for which I might have made $1. But anyways, I'm appreciative. I always thank people for these things and stuff. But, you know, when somebody's buying something, that's not something on which to base a lifelong relationship. That's kind of stupid. So I ended up with what I will call a whole bunch of barnacles, sort of business barnacles, in my Facebook friends. And when I don't know, when one of those musical adventures, one of those groups fell apart, well, basically I exited the band, and it was a trio, so, you know, 33% gone. I exited it for reasons that I felt were righteous, and there was carnage that immediately followed. It was like an earthquake occurred within this sort of extremely underground but pretty large realm in music that I was operating in at that time. In many ways still do. And I just realized that I need to give that ship a good scraping, because of all of these various names that connect my memory and my thoughts to something that I'd really rather not think about anymore. And so once again, I went in and did another one of these great unfriendings. I'll call it what it is, because we weren't, well, I don't know, we weren't friends. They were customers, and in some cases they were musicians who might use another person as a ladder in order to get to someone that they'd like to work with in music. I felt a lot of the soles of a lot of weird boots going right up my back between myself and someone that I don't know, seemed kind of like overly willing to well, they were engaging in a lot of flattery and stuff like that, and I don't like that stuff. That it bounces off of me. There's a difference between constructive feedback and flattery. When someone tells me like everything you're doing is fabulous, I really immediately don't trust them because I know it isn't. It could not be. Part of how I roll is that I don't hide flaws in the process. You know, this goes across every kind of art that I'm involved in. It's immediate, it's finite, it's undecorated, and it doesn't have a lot of makeup on it. It's a immediate grabbing of the moment in which the thing is being made, and I try to make things. I'm not the kind of guy that works on a painting for years. I'm the kind of guy that spends an entire week of 10-hour days working on one and getting it done. So anyways, I scraped the barnacles off of the progressive rock realm that had infiltrated. I allowed him to. I opened the window and the vampire came in, you know. But anyways, let's see, where are we getting with our time here? I sure hope this thing's still recording. It is. We're good. But anyways, so then I did another big old scraping. And then last year, and I've been playing music live locally, not doing recording projects or getting in bands or anything like that for probably about the last, I don't know, 5 years or so. And that's the way I like it. I probably only get out and play 4 times a month. That's plenty. I'm playing with people I enjoy being around. And, you know, at a place that I like being in. But last autumn, I think it was in November, possibly December. I know it was after Halloween, anyways. The anniversary of Noah's Ark beginning and the flood kicking off. That's Halloween. For those that like to look stuff up that other people have said. It is. Halloween is weird. It memorializes catastrophe. I decided that I didn't want to be on Facebook anymore. And the reason why was because having been in the Navy for as long as I was doing spook work, I'm kind of, I have a healthy paranoia when there is a real reason to be paranoid about something. You know, a lot of things that are bad are hidden right in plain sight. And sometimes you see it, and it makes you wonder. And I'm not someone who jumps to conclusions quickly, but when I feel a lot of dots are being connected around a certain theme, I put that theme in a folder in my head. And just, you know, remember that I have that folder in case something else, another dot appears, as it were. And I made a decision that from almost a personal, you know, you hear about national security, right? And I started to think about it might be a good idea for me not only to use it less, which I've gone through phases of, but to just stop. And just, you know, I've created, you know, people have their personal Facebook page, but artists and musicians and businesses and stuff, you know, they set up these adjacent pages in order to promote something, right? And I was quite vigorous about that. I had at least 2 different pages which sold my paintings and art and stuff. And, you know, a person could go there and look at these pictures and so forth. In fact, 2 days ago, a local woman contacted me because she'd seen some of my work, and she tried to contact me through Facebook, and I didn't receive the notification. But anyways, but a friend saw her comment and called me up and told me, and we've connected, and so it's kind of cool that I might possibly make a sale. She wants me to do a painting of her home. I can do that. I've done it before. I decided to get off Facebook. And the first thing I did was I deactivated it, according to the procedure that says this is how you do that. And I will say right now that Facebook doesn't make it easy for you to get out. It really does not. Okay? And then shortly thereafter, I upped it to the delete, after I had given myself time to be mindful about the consequences of deleting my Facebook account. Okay? And if I delete my Facebook account, that means I can no longer log in and moderate other pages. I'll call them commercial pages that I had out there for music and art and stuff, and events and so forth. Like, it's almost as though you're being towed along by a ship in your own little boat, and you are cutting the rope that connects you to that ship, the bigger one that you've built, but you kind of are willing to let that just kind of sail away. Like a lot of the stuff that you find, you know, if you know about archive.org, if you use their Wayback Machine, you can find stuff that was once on domains that no longer exist. And I'm kind of willing to let some of my stuff go off into that ether, not really trusting that it will be preserved, but that it might be. And I don't care. I can untether from those things. I don't even have those things to sell anymore. Who cares, right? Bye. I also knew that I was going to probably have to find a new way to communicate, to replace the Facebook Messenger chat box, which I think most people find them useful locally for some reason. I don't know. And I had found it, I just find Facebook to be a generally crappy way to communicate anything that you want to get feedback about or attendance to, unless you are already a celebrity of sorts, or independently, economically independent, you know what I'm saying? And not caught up in monetary dependencies that involve other people. And I made the hard decision that, yes, I'm going to let go of that. And I know that this is going to disconnect me from photographs that I no longer have. And then I remembered that I actually did a dump of my Facebook media just a couple years ago, and that I actually do have most of the photographs I've taken since then. And that was the thing that made me say, okay, fine, I'm going to actually delete this account and let it go away. Make it vanish. When somebody looks for it, it ain't there. And that was at the end of November, around the beginning of December. All right. So what happened right after that was I started getting these funny messages that I hadn't gotten before that were saying, hey, did you someone logged into Facebook using your account in such a location, you know? And it might have been in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Or Boone, North Carolina. Now, these people are too far away to be hacking my Wi-Fi, right? And the first couple of times that happened, I'm like, what's up with that? Like you do. And like I did. I don't anymore, but anyway. So I went for the bait on the hook that was dangling right there, that someone's messing with, you know, your communication tools. And guess what happened? As soon as I clicked on that thing, up came a thing that said that to proceed to the next step, you'll need to log in. I don't think of myself as a stupid person, okay? I'm ignorant about a lot of stuff, but I'm not stupid. I clicked that damn button to go find out if somebody was in my stuff, okay? They weren't. I never found an explanation for why that occurred, okay? Because I wasn't driving out a network or anything like that when that was going on, so I don't get it. So what I'm guessing is it's part of the game, right? So then what I did was create a filter to make those kind of messages not get to my inbox, just poof, go away. All right. Months pass. I know that if I go to, in order to check whether or not my Facebook account isn't there, I have to have I'll have to log in to find out. And I know what happened before. So several months go by. Here we are in the middle of March, and I don't log into Facebook. Never. A couple more of those. Did you log in? They sneak through. They get past the filter. I spam them and get them right out of there, okay? So just a couple days ago, this is the funny part for me. Our older daughter's over at the house, and we're hanging out on the porch, right? Drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. I say, do me a favor. Anyway, no, I don't. Go in there and see if you can get to my Facebook account, because as far as I know, it shouldn't be there. And I don't want to be the one to look, okay? You got a Facebook account, and of course we've been Facebook friends. Go see if my account's still there. And so she picks up her phone. 5 seconds later, she goes, yeah, it's still there. She holds it up and shows it to me. And I'm like, damn it. And I just do not get it. Okay? I just don't get it. Joke's on me, right? This is called the devil's tennis. So anyways, I'm smoking these inexpensive Crown's menthol lights. They're all we can afford down here in this tobacco state. Anyways, that's another video altogether. So I am just racking my mind. And Tina and I are watching a movie last night. This apocalyptic thing called How It Ends from about 6 years ago. With ads. So during one of the ads, I push the mute button and I say, hey, how do you, I haven't used Facebook at all for months. I just don't get it. I say this to my wife, right? And she goes, well, I use it sometimes. And I go, what do you mean? And she says that our friend, who is a great teacher and just a lovely lady, and she's really fond of Tina's crocheting work, and has actually found all kinds of great ways that Tina can crochet things and you know, them get the people that would enjoy them and stuff, you know. So anyways, she says, well, you know, like when Shanae sends me something that, you know, like I should check out, you know, like a pattern or something. And I said, yeah, but, and this is when the light bulb came on. I said, you've never had a Facebook account. You flat out refused for years to have a Facebook account. I said, you don't even have an email address. I said, don't you understand what's happened here? It's so funny to me. I said, you kept me in Facebook. Each time you looked at something that somebody said, hey, look at this, and it was on Facebook, you know, on some crocheting group page or something, you use my email to log into my Facebook page in order to have access to viewing that thing. And she goes, oh. And then her light bulb came on. I'm really proud of her for never getting caught up in this junk. I'm telling you, you know, like this is ignorance is bliss. You know, she's never been on any of that Facebook stuff. And whenever someone else sends her there to look at something, it generally causes aggravation, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So anyways, so the mystery of the Walking Dead Facebook account, why won't it just die, has been solved. And she went in and did a force stop on the app in her phone, right? So that she won't be tempted ever again. And I asked her also if she would be so kind as to communicate to Shannon that please don't send me any Facebook links. But anyways, so I'm saying that here, you know, my good friends know, even the ones who never like or comment on my videos, I see how many views there are. I know what's going on out there. But anyways, you know that, you know, Facebook wasn't fun either. It did sell a bunch of records though, so that's cool. So pretty soon I think I'm going to be able to actually shoot the head off of the Walking Dead Facebook account. You know, it'll stay down, right? So, you know, I hope I don't have to make another video about on this subject. And this video is oh Lord, this recording's all the way up to 3318, so I better give it a stop.